Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. In this video we will set up our run entity, so the object or the table of our database, and we will also set up the RunDao object, so the interface in which we will define how we want to access our database. So first of all, we want to create a new package for our database classes. So go to your root package and create a new package here. I will call it DB. And inside of this DB package, we will create a new Kotlin class, which is called run, that just describes a single run of our app. And yes, I want to add this to Git. This won't appear for you. This class will be a data class. And since this class is an entity for our room database, we need to annotate this class with add_entity. And in the parentheses, we will specify the table name, and I will call this table running table. So if you're not really familiar with databases, then an entity is nothing more than a table in our database. So this table will have several columns, and each column will represent a single property of our entity, of our table. So in our case, for this run object here, we will have a column for the image, for example, the preview image. We'll have a column for the date when the one was. We'll have a column for the average speed and so on. So those are the properties that we will define in this run class here. So let's actually do that. We will define those properties in the constructor of this class. And the first property will be the preview image. So var image, that will be a nullable bitmap. So bitmap, make this nullable and also set it to null initially. So if we don't provide a value for that when we create a run object, then it will be null initially. Then we will have a variable for the timestamp, which is a long, and we'll set it to 0L initially. The timestamp will basically be equal to the amount of milliseconds when this run was. So it's kind of the date of this run converted into milliseconds. And the reason why we don't save this run with a date parameter here is because we want to be able to sort our runs by date. And if we just save the date, then it's really difficult to sort that runs now by date. And that's why we save that as a timestamp, which is just a long value, and you can sort long values much easier than date values. So next we will have a variable for the average speed in kilometers per hour, which is a float, and we will set it to 0f initially. Then we will have a variable for the distance of the run in meters, which will be of type integer, and set it to 0 initially, so how far we ran basically. And then we will have a variable var time in milliseconds, so time in millis, which is of type long, and we set it to 0L initially. So don't confuse this time in millis here with this timestamp. This timestamp describes when our run was, and this time in millis describes how long our run was. And in general, if you need to save time units for your app, for any app, then I recommend you to really have a single unit for that time. I recommend to do that with milliseconds because it's very accurate. And whenever we need those time units, then we can simply have our functions to convert them to the time unit we want to have. So if we have all of our time units in milliseconds, so this will be in milliseconds and the timestamp too, then we can easily write functions that convert a milliseconds time to, let's say, hours, or let's say minutes, or whatever. So that's why I will have all of those times saved as milliseconds. And as a last value of this constructor, we will have the burned calories. So var calories burned, which is an integer, and we will set it to 0 initially. And now, since we use this class as an entity for our room database, we also need to provide a primary key. So if you don't know what a primary key is, that is just a unique identifier for each entry in our database table, so that the database actually is able to distinguish between several entries. And we won't put this primary key in this constructor here because we want to be able to create run objects without us needing to provide a primary key. So that will be our ID. We don't want to provide an ID when we create a run. Instead, we want room to handle that. And that's why I will put this primary key in the class body here. That means we don't need to provide it in the constructor. And we need to annotate this with add primary key. And in the parentheses, we set auto generate to true. So that will basically mean that room handles the generation of this ID for us. And room will also worry about the uniqueness of this ID. So this will be a var ID, which is of type integer, and it's a nullable integer, and we will set it to null initially. And this is actually it for our run entity class. The next step is now to create the Dao object for this run class. The Dao object, if you don't know that, is called data access object, and that's just an interface that describes all possible actions we want to be able to perform with our database. So let's actually go into our DB package and create a new Kotlin file or class and call this RunDao and select interface here. Then we again need to annotate this interface with Dao this time. And in here we will have a whole bunch of functions. Most of those functions will be database queries that provide us the necessary runs that we want to have at that time. So first of all, we want to be able to insert new runs. So we have to annotate this function with add insert. And I will also provide an onConflict strategy in this parentheses here. So we write onConflict is equal to onConflict strategy.replace. That just means when we want to insert a run that already exists in our database, then the old run will be replaced by the new run. And the function for this will be a suspend function. So this will actually be executed inside of a coroutine. And we will call this function insert run. And this simply takes a run as a parameter. So the run we want to insert here and doesn't return anything. Then we also want to have a function to delete a run. So let's annotate this function with add delete. And this will also be a suspend function. So we will execute this in a coroutine, which is called delete run. And we also have to provide the run in the parameter that we want to delete here. And also this function doesn't return anything. And the next function, or all of our next functions, will be database queries that provide us runs that we want to get from our database. So this function will be the function get all runs sorted by date. And this function doesn't take any parameters. And that's, by the way, also not a suspend function, because whenever we want to get runs or want to get something from our database, and we want this function to return a live data object, so we can simply observe on changes later on, then this doesn't work in a coroutine. So we cannot prepend this suspend keyword here. Instead, we just make it a normal function and let it return a live data object here of type list of type run. And to actually define the query now for this function, we have to add this add query annotation here. And in the parameter of that add query annotation, we have to now provide that query as an SQL query that will be select everything from our running table. We declared that running table in our run class here. So we wrote add entity, and here in the parentheses we provided the table name, which is equal to running table. So we want to get everything from our running table, and we want to get those runs ordered by date, because we want to get all runs sorted by date. So we write order by timestamp, because the timestamp represents our date in our run object. And since usually if you want to sort your runs by date, then you want to have the latest runs on top of your list. So that's why we want to sort this list descending. So the latest runs will actually be on top of our list. And now we can actually just copy this function and paste it 4 more times, because we want to be able to sort our runs by every value that exists in our run entity. So we want to be able to sort it by timestamp, by average speed, by distance, time in milliseconds, and calories burned. And for each of those properties, we need its own function. So let's call this function get all runs sorted by time in milliseconds. This also returns a live data of type list of run. And the only thing we need to change in the query now is we still want to select every run of our running table, but this time we want to order the runs by time in millis. Then the next function will be get all runs sorted by calories burned. And here we replace this timestamp with calories burned. Then we have get all runs sorted by average speed. We replace this timestamp with average speed in kilometers per hour. And we finally have a function to get all runs sorted by distance. So we replace this timestamp with distance in meters. And yes, those are a lot of functions, and it's still not enough. We still need more functions in our DAO object, because for now, all of those functions we wrote here are for our run fragment. So the fragment in which we will list all of our runs, and with those functions we are actually able to sort them. But we also have our statistics fragment in which we want to get the total statistics of our runs. So the total time run, the total calories burned, the total average speed, and the total distance. And for that we also need to access our database. And for each of those total statistics we also need its own function. So let's actually start to write the function. Actually make a little space here. Let's actually start to write a function to get the total time run of all runs basically. Function get total time in milliseconds. This will return a live data of type long, because the result of that function is of type, or is an amount of milliseconds, and that is of type long. So that's why this live data contains a long value here. And we have to annotate this with add query again. And this time we want to select the sum of our time in milliseconds from our running table. So this sum function here is a function of SQLite that just goes through our running table and adds up all of those time in milliseconds entries and returns the result as a long, and we can simply observe on that result with our live data object. So that's what we will also do for our other functions here. Let's copy this again, paste it for the sum of our calories burned, and change the name of that function, get total calories burned, then paste it again for the sum of our distance in meters, get total distance, and finally we want to have the total average speed of our runs. Here we don't want to add up all those runs because it's the average speed. Instead, what we want to use, instead of sum, we want to use the average function of our average speed in kilometers per hour. And we rename this to get total average speed. Oh, and we have to change the return type of that, or the type of that live data, for the average speed to float, of course, for the total distance to integer, and also for the calories burned to integer. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and liked it. If so, please let me know that below, and also if there is anything I can improve on, please let me know that below. That would make me really happy, and that would help me also to improve my content. Have a good day. See you in the next video. Bye bye.